Hey everyone, it's Lex from Big Girl Panties Life. And for BGP Life Chat, this is our first series for it. And we're going to be doing a health series. So I'm super excited for you guys to join us today. With me, I'm very excited to have 3 lovely ladies who I invited to just have morning coffee and some morning snacks so we can get together and talk about our health challenges. I think that it's important that we talk about this, and I know that for each of us, we all have experiences with illness. And it's not something that young millennials and young people talk about often. So I'm so excited to get these lovely ladies together so we can just share some more information about this part of our lives. Thanks for tuning in. So ladies, I thought it would be super cute if we played like a little game and just picked out questions at random so we can ask each other and learn some more about our lives and illness. So I'll start off the game. Question 1. Please share your name, something about yourself, what illness you have, and when were you diagnosed? So I'll go first. My name is Alexis, as you all should know, or Lex, as I like to refer myself to as for BGP Life. And something about myself. I love to write. I used to run track, so I'm also a former athlete. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, well, relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis in 2015. So,
Okay, I'll go next. Okay, my name is Shara, and I have fibromyalgia and arthritis. And for those who don't know, fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition. And something about myself, I am a raging lunatic feminist. So, yes. Don't try me on that.
I'll go. My name's Zoe. Everyone calls me Zoe. I'm a mom. I have Crohn's disease. I found out that I had Crohn's disease in 2012. I was 22. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
what about something about yourself? Oh, you said you're a mom.
I'm a mom. I have a podcast, so I like discussions. I like sitting down. I like talking. I'm a talker. So
This is perfect for you.
this is perfect. Yeah.
I'm Celente. I have sickle cell anemia disease. I was diagnosed when I was 3 months old. Something about myself. I'm a new mom. She's 10 months old. Thank you. And I also have a master's in counseling, so I like to be the listener to people and just hear about their issues as well. Yeah.
Okay, so since you went last, why don't you go and pick out our next question?
All right. So the next question is, do you think there is a misconception of what it means to have this illness that you have, or an illness in general? So for me, the misconception is that we're weak. I know for my disease and probably any other disease, people treat us as if we're fragile. And that's not the truth. We're actually the strongest people because we have to endure so much. And people sometimes overlook that or don't want to push us more than they think that we should be pushed, which is unfortunate because we are capable of lots of things. Yeah.
I would say that not really a misconception with mine, because actually mine is quite common. There's actually a lot of cases where people don't know that they even have some type of inflammatory illness that's going on. So, you know, I think the misconception of having an illness, period, at a young age, I think is real taboo. I don't think people think that it's occurring. So it's kind of like in the back of your mind, you know. I think it's more like the hypochondriacs, like me, who's like, something's not right. I need to get myself checked. So I think it's more of a misconception with having an illness, not necessarily mine.
I think I would say that because when I felt like I was quite young when I was diagnosed with MS. I was 23, going 24 that year. And I thought that I was, you know, singled out, you know, like from life. I'm like, well, why did I get picked? Like, I'm so young, like I'm not supposed to get anything. And, you know, like you said, Zoe, like it's more common than we realize. And that's why I think like it's important for us to like get together and talk about this stuff, because it's like, oh, we have no idea that other people are going through, you know, similar things that we are. So yeah.
I think for me with fibromyalgia, people classify it as an invisible illness. So while I may look fine on the outside, I can be in extreme pain. And I get that it's hard for people sometimes to understand and take it seriously, because like, you know, if I'm dressed up and I have my makeup on and whatever, it's like, oh, she's fine, it's whatever. But like deep inside, like I could be in like extreme pain. And it happens so fast, and like I could be fine 1 hour, and then in the next hour, like I'm at the hospital. And it's kind of hard to get people to understand and take it seriously.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll pick. What advice would you give to someone, specifically a millennial or younger, who has just been diagnosed with the illness that you have? This is actually a great question for me, because my close friend was actually just diagnosed with Crohn's disease as well. Yeah. And what was so funny is she had the same steps as me, just at our age now. So when I was younger, I would say probably 18, 19 is when I started to feel sick, and then 20 was when it was terrible. She was doing the same thing, couldn't get out of bed, was just consistently, you know, using the bathroom, like not understanding what's going on, just socially awkward afterwards. You just become so introverted because you think something's like wrong, you think you're going crazy. So I started seeing it, and you know, I would invite her somewhere and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna hang home. So I went to her house, I'm like, what's up? And she was literally like, had lost like 20 pounds, and she's tiny as it is. So I'm like, go get it checked. I was there, I know it, like I know how you feel. So she just got diagnosed, and the advice I would give her is just stick with it, or anyone really, just stick with it. Just know your illness yourself. It's personal to you. Know what your limits are. Listen to your body. That's all. That's my biggest thing, is listen to your body. Just don't overexert yourself. Yeah, definitely.
I would say advice to someone who has just been diagnosed with MS, and I do this not quite often, but you know, on occasion I'll have someone send me a DM on my Instagram for BGP Life, or shoot me an email and ask me questions about it. And I think that the most important thing is for someone to understand that they're not alone, and that don't immediately panic and think that you're written for death. You know what I mean? Because the worst thing that we can do is panic and all of a sudden just assume the worst of the worst. Because in that case, we're setting ourselves up for failure to begin with. I remember one thing that I really did like when I was first diagnosed is did a lot of research, and I didn't run off and tell everyone, just people that were close to me who could help, or who I trusted, because you don't want to have too much excess information around you invading your space. Just do your research and trust yourself. Trust, your health practitioners, but don't be afraid to get a second opinion. Don't be afraid to get multiple opinions. You know what I mean? You know your body, and yeah, just understand that it's not a death sentence. Don't let anyone. Like, that's one thing that I strive myself to do. Like, don't let anyone tell you your fate because you have an illness. That's a big thing that I believe in. Who wants to go next?
What do you still want to learn about, or how to get better at with regards to your illness?
It's like, that's a tough one.
I would say with fibromyalgia specifically, I think that I need to learn, and as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more of an advocate for myself. So pretty much what you were talking about, like, don't be afraid to get a second opinion. Don't be afraid to question the doctors if you have, if you have questions. And when I was first diagnosed, I was, I think, about 20. And I was scared out of my mind because for a long time I didn't know what it was. I just knew I was in extreme pain almost every day. I literally thought that I was dying. So it was actually a relief when I was finally diagnosed. And I would say that one thing I regret and that I would do differently is, for a long time, I let other people dictate like what I should do. Even like I would be in situations like in the doctor's office, and they would say something and I'm like, I don't really think that's right. Like, I don't think that's right for me. And for a long time, I did let other people decide my destiny and with this illness. And that's something that I'm getting better at every day. Like, okay, I'm a grown woman. I'm my own advocate. I know my body. And so I just need to learn to trust myself more.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And the doctor part is like what's hitting him for me, just, how you feel. I think, doctors, they're brilliant, but they have so many other cases that they're dealing with. And sometimes I think that is like kind of narrowing down like what's important, but you're important to yourself, So I would always say like go for that second opinion, because to be honest, when I came back home, because I got sick in Toronto, I was in school in Toronto, and my mom's like, I have to get you back home. Like, you're not getting out of bed. No one's seen you in 2 weeks. And I hadn't told anybody, I was just home. And she flew me home, and I actually passed out, like fainted on the flight coming back. And they had to call her in the air and was like, we gotta rush her to the hospital. She's unconscious. And so my mom was like completely panicked. So by the time I got back, when I was going to the hospital out there, they was just saying you're dehydrated, or, you need to drink more fluids, you eat better. And I'm just saying, I'm doing this and it's something not going on. So, go for that second opinion. It took me 3 doctors for them to say, this is what's happening and this is what you need to now do. And the relief factor for me is amazing, because you're not going crazy. You feel like something's wrong. Like I had to tell my friend, you're not, you're very sane. Something's going on with your body. So, like it's the crazy factor you feel. So that relief part I can relate to, definitely.